We are now less than a week away from the start of the regular season, ladies and gentlemen, and with the Bulls set to play their final preseason game tomorrow against the Memphis Grizzlies, I thought in today's video I would recap some of the Bulls' latest news, injury updates, and a high-level preview of tomorrow's game. So what's going on, everyone? You were listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Guys, if you watched to the very end of my last video, which was yesterday's Hot Takes video, I announced the 15K tickets giveaway, in which I'll be doing a randomized drawing of those who send me a DM either on Instagram or Twitter, and that drawing has now closed. I'm just adding in the final folks who message me in the generator, and we'll be drawing a winner later today, which I will announce the winner on the community page and in tomorrow's video. So just remember, sometimes it pays to watch to the very end, and once again, a huge shout out to all of you for getting the channel to 15K. I'm so grateful for the love and support that you guys have shown on the channel. It really means a lot to me. It really is a testament to how amazing of a fan base this franchise has. So thank you once again, and let's get back into the content. So I thought I'd start off with a quick injury update, and obviously this is subject to change based on when you're listening to this, but we did get an update on Coby White and his shoulder injury. Now, according to Billy Donovan, Coby White will be reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks, and that's just to determine whether he can do full contact practice. He did add that Coby is still a ways away from 5-on-5 practices with the team, which is a little odd, as it was just a couple weeks ago that we received a report that Coby was tracking to be back around mid-November, whereas now they're saying he won't even be evaluated for practice, let alone back in the lineup in games, and that was early to mid-November. Now, it hasn't been revealed why the timetable has been pushed back. Maybe we'll learn more about that in the coming days, but at the same time, the estimated return timeline for Coby when he first injured his shoulder back in June was 4 to 6 months, which 6 months would put us at December, so it's possible we're now looking more towards the end of that initial timeline. The good news, though, is we did have a positive update on Patrick Williams, who has been participating in 5-on-5 practices with the team in full contact, and yesterday, when asked by the media whether he would be available to play in the Bulls' final preseason game, he did say that he was very hopeful and very confident that he would. He also added that his ankle feels good and that he doesn't want to miss any games. Now, when Billy Donovan was asked whether Patrick Williams would be available to play on Friday, he did say he is progressing in that direction and that him playing wouldn't be out of the question, but that if he doesn't play, it wouldn't be a setback, which is great to hear, because when we initially heard that Patrick got injured a few weeks ago, it was thought that he would likely miss the start of the regular season, and it's appearing to be more clear that he will in fact be ready by next Wednesday and for the season opener if he's not already playing in tomorrow's game. For me personally, I think there is value in having him get some run with the team in a preseason matchup, just to have him get a little used to this new roster, the new starting lineup, before the regular season. It gives him a chance to get a feel for his role on the court, make mistakes, learn from those mistakes. That's what's great about the preseason, is that it doesn't count for anything, and it gives young players a chance to experiment and get comfortable in a game setting. At the same time, though, I also understand that you never want to rush a player back, and you want to ensure that they're fully healthy before entering a game, especially when it is just a preseason game. I did think by now we would have had an update on Patrick and whether he would actually be a go or no-go for tomorrow's game. With my luck, we'll likely get an announcement on that right after I upload this video, but either way, I'll be keeping you guys posted on that. Knowing Billy Donovan and also the front office and how they like to keep things tight-lipped, we likely won't know until shortly before the game starts. They'll likely announce tomorrow that he will be a game time decision. Also, in other good injury news, Tony Bradley, who is yet to play in the preseason, did fully practice with the team yesterday, and like Patrick, may also return for the Bulls' final preseason game, which is great to hear, because the Bulls are pretty limited when it comes to big man without Tony. I mean, you saw Alize Johnson getting minutes at the 5 the other night, and played it pretty well, I might add, but it'll be good to have Tony Bradley back as a backup center behind Vucevic. In other news, the Bulls did also announce that they will be having an open virtual practice, which is happening today at 4 p.m. Central. It's very possible that by the time you're watching this, that the practice is live, and I believe you are able to tune into the live stream of the practice on either NBC Sports Chicago and also on YouTube. I'll actually leave a link to it for you guys below in case you're interested in tuning into it live. Always fun to get a first look hand at the Bulls players in practice, talking to each other, running drills, seeing the plays and sets that they're working on. and the dynamic that goes on in practice. I'm sure, like in seasons past, they'll also do a full scrimmage. I'll definitely be tuning in and commenting in the live stream as well. It'll be interesting to see if Patrick will be available for the open practice. I imagine he will, since it's already been announced that he has been practicing in 5-on-5. No updates on the Bulls' final roster spots, the non-guaranteed players, none at this time anyway. Alize Johnson, Stanley Johnson, Matt Thomas, and Tyler Cook all are still with the team. None of them have been waived, nor have any of them been confirmed to have made a roster spot and have their contracts be fully guaranteed. As I've said before, both here and on the Locked On Bulls podcast, I fully expect Alize Johnson to make the team, and not only make the team, but even get a spot in Billy Donovan's rotation with his versatility and strength at the 4 spot, a role the Bulls are going to need with their limited depth at the power forward position. I think really the final roster spot will come down to Stanley Johnson and Matt Thomas, which I think will ultimately go to Stanley Johnson. And, Matt Thomas will be the Bulls' final two-way player, but I also wouldn't be shocked if Matt Thomas actually snagged that final roster spot, given his ability to be a strong spot-up shooter. You can never go wrong in having a sharpshooter on a team coming off the bench. The Bulls do have until the end of the preseason to make a final decision on these roster spots and the non-guaranteed deals of these players, so we'll likely be finding out how the front office intends to proceed this weekend, if not sooner. Who knows, maybe that has already been announced by the time you're watching this. Now, the Bulls play their final preseason game, only 4 preseason games this season, which last season was a shortened preseason as well because of the pandemic, with a shortened offseason after the bubble. Usually preseasons have anywhere between 7 to 10 games, and as Billy Donovan had said before, because it's only 4 games, he wants to give his starters enough run together in these games to build that cohesion and team chemistry, which is why you've seen the starters get pretty significant minutes for preseason play. A lot of times teams choose to sit their starters in the preseason or have them only play 20 minutes or so, but Billy Donovan has been letting his starters play over 25 minutes in these games, and even had the main 4 guys all play over 30 minutes in that win over Cleveland. I'll be curious to see whether Donovan continues that approach in tomorrow's game, or if he'll give the starters a little more rest before beginning the preseason. Not saying that he'll sit them out entirely, but rather not having them play 30 plus minutes. I personally would rather see some of the rotational players get more minutes, guys like Javonte Green, Alize Johnson, Dosunmu, Marko Simonovic. I want to see these guys get more reps in and on the court to showcase what they can do, because especially for these 2 rookies, they're likely not going to be getting that many minutes once the regular season begins. We've talked about it before, but Billy Donovan usually likes to keep his rotations pretty tight in an 8 to 9 man rotation, and guys like Ayo and Marko just aren't experienced enough to be in that rotation. I know a lot of Bulls fans want to see Ayo in the rotation, and I do think he'll get some minutes while Coby White remains out of the lineup, but it's very unlikely he's going to be getting meaningful playing minutes in the regular season. And that's not a knock on Ayo, because I have been very impressed with this kid in the limited time that we have seen him play in the preseason. He's got the confidence and the aggressiveness I love seeing, and I think he will ultimately prove to be a better player than where he was selected in the draft. But like every rookie and younger players who aren't highly touted prospects or lottery picks, sometimes they have to bide their time before they start seeing meaningful time on the court. It would be different if the Bulls were shorthanded or depleted in the backcourt, or just a bad team that didn't have talent. Then yes, he would be getting more playing time and in the rotation, but with guys like Lavine, Lonzo, Caruso, then you also add Coby White on top of that when he comes back, it'll be hard to fit Ayo into where he gets minutes on the court. So a little bit of a tangent there. I just want to see some of these guys who likely won't be getting as much time in the regular season. I want to see them get more time on the court in this last preseason game, while these starters maybe get a little more rest to get ready for the regular season. I think there is value in giving some of these younger guys experience before the games really start become meaningful. This will be the Bulls' second preseason game against a Western Conference team in the Grizzlies, and this likely will be the most challenging team they will face in the preseason, as the Bulls really haven't faced that strong of competition to date, playing the Cavs twice and the Pelicans without Zion and Brandon Ingram. I do believe Ja Morant will be playing tomorrow, so it'll be fun to see him and Zoe go at it. So make sure you're tuning into the game tomorrow night. I'll also have a live chat for the game as always, and a post-game recap. Also, guys, I know a lot of you have been asking me to comment on the updated preseason power rankings that just came out from the national media, where they ranked the Bulls 22nd in the league. I believe it was 22nd anyway, behind teams like the Pelicans, the Pacers, Raptors, Spurs, And guys, I'm not even going to entertain that nonsense. The Bulls will just have to prove how lazy these type of rankings are that they're putting together once the regular season kicks off. It's just absurd to me that they have the Bulls that low, basically where they had them last season, as if they haven't improved at all. Just ridiculous to me. But anyway, guys, I'll end it there. As always, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I do post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.